The information shared on this program is for general informational purposes only. It is not intended as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice, nor as a recommendation of any specific investment product or financial instrument. Always consult your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant regarding your own situation. All client reviews or spotlight segments are unpaid testimonials from current clients of Tony Walker Financial. Individual experiences will vary, are not representative of all clients, and are not a guarantee of future results or success.
Confused as to why so many on Wall Street keep telling you how much they hate annuities? Well, stay tuned as I share with you the truth about modern-day annuities and why I love annuities and you should too, Part 2.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money. The Worry-Free Retirement with your host, six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
One of the more interesting things about us humans is how easily swayed we are by others, people who appear, with great confidence mind you, to come across about a given subject matter as knowing more about it than we do, even if the person attempting to sway us really knows very little about what he or she is talking about. Rather than trying to figure out why we are so easily distracted by the swayers of opinions on things they know nothing about, can anyone say annuities? The real issue is this: why in the world are these people so heck bent on swaying us to their side in the first place? Well, to understand why so many investors on Wall Street hate annuities and feel you should too, one only has to understand this simple truth. Those on Wall Street who hate annuities are not savers, but rather investors, which is where the rub really begins. Annuities are not built for investors, but created for the hearts and minds of savers. Savers who don't like taking a lot of risk and are satisfied with modest rates of return in exchange for the protection of their money. Which is why today we begin Part 2 of why I love annuities and you should too. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, the annuity king himself and fiduciary, something we're going to talk about later in the show, Tony Walker. And before I tell you why I love annuities and you should too, in order not to waste the time of any investors, let's first confirm if you're a saver or an investor with this little 2-question quiz. You ready? Okay, question number 1. If given 2 options to invest your life savings, in the first option, which is a guaranteed return of 4% and would pay you 4% for the rest of your life. That's option A. Or you could invest your life savings in an investment that over the long term has averaged 10% on your money, but could go down in value at any time. Which would you choose, A or B? All right, hold on. Here's the second question. Assuming you are getting ready for bed at night and there was the remote possibility that when you wake up the next morning that your 401k could be down as much as 20% in value, how would you feel when you woke up the next morning, and what would your reaction be to finding out that your money was dropping like a rock? A, get your money immediately out of there and move it to safer territory. Or B, would you see the 20% loss in value as an opportunity to even buy more stocks? Well, if you answered A to both questions, there's a very good chance that you are a saver. Now, on the other hand, if you answered B to both questions, you're probably an investor or a speculator, which means that you can go ahead, turn the channel, and see how the futures market is doing over on that other channel. So now that we have all of you savers ready to learn the truth about annuities, you're going to want to stay tuned as we cover Part 2 of our series, Why I Love Annuities and You Should Too.
Are you retired or retiring soon? Do you have a 401k, IRA, 403b, thrift savings account, or lump sum pension that you'd like to move to safer territory? Did you know that all the money you see on your 401k statement isn't really yours? Depending on your overall taxable income, the government has essentially a lien on your 401k that can tax as much as 40% of your money when you go to take it out. Tony Walker calls this the 401k tax tumor. For over 40 years, retirement specialist Tony Walker has helped thousands of savers worry less about money by creating game plans to deal with your tax tumor. Get control of your retirement by controlling the taxes owed on it. Schedule a free meeting to see if you can reduce your tax tumor and provide a guaranteed income you can never outlive. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Here's a Tony Walker Financial 5-star review from Jeff Swisher. The personalized service that we receive from Tony Walker Financial is unmatched. Not only is Tony Walker an excellent fiduciary himself, but his entire team of specialized experts make it really easy for us to get any question answered quickly and efficiently. To read this full review and more 5-star reviews like it, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and with us in the studio is Mr. Wes Walker, fellow fiduciary here in the Louisville office. Good morning, Wes.
Good morning, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We're going to get into ChatGPT and how it's affecting the financial world. In your own words, define what you would say ChatGPT is. What is its function and what is it really trying to accomplish for the consumer?
Sure. Yeah, I was never a computer science major, but ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, Grok, all these different things are what they call large language models. They basically summarize information, you give it a prompt, and then it spits back, an answer for you. So you can talk to it in natural language. Really impressive tools. It's kind of the forefront of modern technology, but as we'll see in this article, sometimes it doesn't always replace what a human can do from a knowledge perspective and an experience perspective.
Yeah, I was reading an article recently on that, and the question is, okay, this is getting more and more technologically advanced, ChatGPT, but can it really replace the judgment, the intuition maybe of a human? And when it gets into the financial world and retirement planning, especially what we do, which is, I think, pretty advanced planning, I'm going to assume for now it doesn't really do that, but leads to this article, very interesting article. The article is titled, this came out on March 24th. This is from Financial Advice.
In the Wall Street Journal?
Wall Street Journal, I'm sorry, Wall Street Journal, give them credit there. Lisa Ward, March 18th, 2026. Here's the title, The Unexpected Risk of Letting ChatGPT Fact Check Your Financial Advisor. Now the subtitle, this is what really caught my attention. Research shows that advisors find it more insulting to be double-checked by a chatbot than by a human rival. What's this article really talking about? Because this was an interesting take on things.
So the article's not even talking about how ChatGPT might give bad advice or something. It's more so talking about how advisors might react negatively to a prospect bringing in a second opinion from a large language model. So it's interesting. I mean, we certainly, as a firm, I've seen you talk to people when they've brought in a second opinion. I don't know if I've seen one from a large language model yet, but we don't take any offense to people getting opinions from other advisors. In fact, it might be a good idea to talk to a few different people, see if you're a good match. The only thing we say is just please don't share the information we've given you with another advisor, because we've seen in the past sometimes they'll copy what we do. But I think anytime somebody's getting a second opinion and bringing it in, it just shows that they're trying to better judge their situation. So this article is talking about a lot of advisors will get upset when prospects will bring in opinions from large language models like ChatGPT.
And I think, too, the questioning. Of course, I'm blessed to have 20 full-time employees, and I've been doing this 42 years now. What I've realized is that you can't know it all. There's no way you could possibly know. And even sometimes I see redundant questions come through. Well, lately what I'll do, especially let's say it's a tax question or an involved investment question, I might say, hold on just a second, and I might buzz you, get you on the line real quick. If it's an advanced investment question in terms of how we do our models, for instance. You answer it directly. I might buzz TJ. TJ, got a tax question here. I'm not 100% sure of what your thoughts on it. So we love questions. I mean, we love the consumers to bring in questions. I think the only warning shot over the bow with this whole ChatGPT is, when people come in, sometimes I sense that they've really been trying to study. Let's take a Roth conversion. Sure. They've watched YouTube videos, ChatGPT, and they're coming in, and what they forget is all the information they have is maybe accurate, but it may not pertain to their situation. So speak to that even from an investment standpoint. Maybe somebody has researched investments and ChatGPT has helped them, and then they come into us about, typical question might be, well, is now a good time to get in the market? As we record this segment now, the market's kind of down. How would you respond to that versus just a blanket statement in response?
Yeah, as it pertains to the market, we might not ever really tell somebody now's a good time or later might be a good time. That gets into market timing and investor psychology. But like the Roth conversion issue, ChatGPT, you might have just asked it you might have given it a few basic points. Hey, I'm X number of years old. I've got this amount of money in an IRA. Should I do a Roth conversion? Well, it's going to spit back an answer to you no matter what. You might be leaving out some other stuff, like you're in a high tax bracket. You don't have that much cash on hand to pay the taxes for the Roth conversion. So there's all these little elements that I think somebody who has done it for a long time is going to pick up on, whereas a large language model might not. And then two, someone's got to effectuate all this stuff for a Roth conversion. So you've got to file the paperwork, you've got to pay the taxes. And if you make a mistake somewhere in there, it could be a huge blunder. You could pay all sorts of money in penalties and taxes. Whether the AI, the LLM is going to be able to handle all those transactions for you, I know right now it can't. Maybe in the future it can, but for now, I would definitely trust it to somebody who's done, hundreds of these transactions.
Have you ever wondered what truly makes retirement worry-free? Well, as someone who has worked for years in the field of retirement planning, I can tell you this. Being worry-free in retirement is not just how much money you've saved for retirement, it's how you are planning on using and enjoying this money without the fear of one day running out. And that's the beauty of what we call mailbox money.
Mailbox money!
It's a steady stream of income, reliable lifetime income, just like the pension my granddad once enjoyed. Hi, my name is Tony Walker, and if you're looking to turn your 401k or other retirement assets into a guaranteed stream of monthly income you can never outlive, let's talk. To set up a quick phone call with me is easy, and best of all, it's free. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. To get started, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call us at 877-499-9255.
Mailbox money is a reference to guaranteed lifetime annuity payments backed solely by the issuing insurer's claims-paying ability.
Our client spotlight today shines brightly on Miss Darlene Benzik. And Miss Benzik, first of all, thank you so much for being on the program with us.
No, I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. So, Miss Benzik, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have lived in the area for all of my life, quite frankly. Currently live in Oldham County.
And how did you find out about Tony Walker Financial?
We had been watching your show, like before church every Sunday. And of course, he viewed through the lens of your concepts and strategies, and he was like, spot on. And we both viewed the end of your show. You always tie it back to the Bible. And so that's very important to us. And so we prayed about it, and we came over here and just started gathering all these pieces, and then you all figured it out. It's like we just threw it all on your table, and then your folks figured it out beautifully. So,
and how has the experience been in working with our staff?
Oh, my. I've told everyone this, front to back. Usually you have bad apple in every batch, and there aren't any. I mean, everybody's been so helpful. When my husband initiated our changeover to Tony Walker, which I'm so grateful that he did, a few weeks later he passed away. So I was, as anybody out there who knows who's lost a spouse, your world kind of shatters, and you're picking up all these pieces that you're unsure of. And then you sat down with me personally, and I sat down with Trey, and everyone's taken their time and always so patient in a time where I wasn't always on top of things like I usually am. So, yeah, I appreciated everybody front to back.
Well, you're so welcome, and thank you for the opportunity to be of service.
Looking for an advisor you can trust? Schedule your free phone call with Tony at TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 1-877-499-9255.
All right, so let's get back to the subject at hand. Why would two advisors be so different in their opinions about the same product, that being annuities? Why would one advisor say they hate annuities, and then you got this little man in a sweater vest who says he loves them? Again, you need to look no further than the personality of the advisor. You see, the one advisor is an investor, which is fine, while the other advisor in the little sweater vest is hardwired for safety and thus is a saver. It's that simple. And as such, as a saver, I hate losing money, or at least investing in things that I know can go down very drastically in value. This is why I love annuities. You see, one can argue till the cows come home that annuities are bad, but at some point, you need to prove why you think they're bad. Here's what I've learned about working in both the investment world and the insurance world. We have nearly 5,000 annuities that I've personally sold, totaling over $700 million. And of those premiums, those 5,000 annuities, none of those annuities has lost value or money due to a stock market loss or the bonds going down. Zero. So, assuming you hate losing money, why would you not at least consider annuities, especially if you're a saver who hates losing money? So, how can insurance companies do this? How can they sell annuities and guarantee you won't lose money due to the stock and bond market crashing? Well, there's two ways they accomplish this. One, through science, and two, by investing the money you give them into safe investments. That's it. That's the secret sauce to keeping your money safe and providing you an opportunity to purchase a product that will provide an income guaranteed that you can never outlive. So let's look at the first element of the insurance companies we call science, and this is somebody that's employed by the insurance company called an actuary. My respect for actuaries and how they work to make sure that numbers work out and money is safe is through the roof. So let's define exactly what an actuary is. Basically, it's a business professional who analyzes the financial consequences of risk. Actuaries use science. They use mathematics. They use statistics and financial theories to study uncertain future events, especially those concerned about insurance programs and, yes, even pension programs. Their job is to assure that the company is not taking too much risk with your money, that the insurance company also makes money on your money, and that by using statistics, math, science, they can assure that those savers out there who are guaranteeing their money with the insurance companies will get a decent rate of return. This is something that Wall Street cannot guarantee, nor even banks can guarantee, because they do not employ actuaries. So how does the insurance company make money while still guaranteeing your money is safe and secure? How are they going to be able to do that? And then how do they determine how much money they'll pay you in return? Well, when I return, we'll explore exactly how they make money and why Wall Street and the banks cannot do what insurance companies can. So you've worked 30 or 40 years slaving away at work so you can save away money into your 401k, and now you arrive at the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make: where to invest your 401k plan. Think about it. For all these years, you've had a steady paycheck, compliments from your employer for all of your hard work that you dedicated to them. But now, all of a sudden, you've got to figure out how to replace that paycheck with the money you've been saving. No wonder you're worried about what to do and who to trust with that money, which is why we at Tony Walker Financial are providing a brand new free service called the 10-Minute Fiduciary Phone Call. And here's how simple it is to learn more about our services and our 401k rollover process. First, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Once there, click on the Let's Get Started button. You'll be taken to a page. Confidentially, you can fill out your information on the screen and then click below the best way for us to speak together. It could either be myself or one of our other trained fiduciaries. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Before you make a rash decision and blindly turn your money over to a complete stranger to invest, consider a name and a firm you can trust, Tony Walker Financial. And, oh, by the way, if you like, you can give us a call to speak to us at any time by phone by simply calling 877-499-9255.
Do you have questions about retirement and your financial future? Well, it's time to talk to Tony.
A lot of people get hung up on three major ages of Social Security, which are 62, 67, and age 70. And they aren't really irrelevant, but they are. So a lot of people will say, well, I'm not going to retire until I hit my full retirement age, which is normally age 67. Or they might say, well, I'm going to start it at 62 because I'm going to take it as soon as I can get it. Or they maybe watched a YouTube video that says, well, I guess I'm supposed to wait till 70. That's the last year I can wait on Social Security. And since it grows at 8% a year until then, I guess I'll just wait. Folks, there's no way to know which age to start it. And in fact, you could start it at 63, 64, 68, or of course you could do the magical ages of 62, 67, or 70. What we do at Tony Walker Financial, when we go through an income plan, we take in all the considerations and factors you'll need to know, and we're going to pinpoint the age we feel you should start Social Security based on your situation.
Set up your free phone call with Tony by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255.
Well, with us in the Bowling Green office is Miss Heather Hughes, fellow fiduciary. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Tony.
Well, thanks for joining us. And today I want you to share a little bit about your role at Tony Walker Financial in terms of the annuities we offer.
Yes, of course, I wear many hats around here, but one of the first things that I started learning when I came on board was researching annuities. And what that means is really kind of learning the ins and outs, how each individual contract works. That was all prompted in about 2007 with the introduction of income riders to annuities. So that really changed the game as far as the annuity market goes.
Well, that was a game changer. So what do you see as one of the biggest frustrations in our business when it comes to annuities?
You know, the annuities are not one size fits all. And we'll see a lot of clients or potential clients that come in who have purchased annuities and really had no game plan or understanding of what they had purchased. And that's very frustrating for us because we do our due diligence on trying to pick the correct contract for each individual situation and work that into a game plan that they can use in retirement.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I had a client come in the other day, a prospective client who's kind of shopping around for annuities and met with somebody who immediately just started pitching one annuity and said, I felt like I was meeting with a used car salesman. So anyway, over the years, in meeting with so many people who are either thinking of doing business with Tony Walker Financial, or maybe those who have an existing annuity with us, what has been the most rewarding part of your job in this role of annuity specialist?
Oh, I love seeing people meet their goals in retirement. It's very fulfilling. I get a question a lot on, people will activate their lifetime income or mailbox money. And they're like, well, okay, how long is this going to last? And I said, well, your lifetime. And they're like, yeah, but how many years is that going to be? I'm like, well, I don't know how long you're going to live, but as long as you're alive, that's coming to you. I think one thing that people need to take into consideration when they are purchasing an annuity, look at it as going into a relationship with someone, because whoever is selling you that annuity should be obligated to kind of see you through that and guide you on how to use it best.
Are you retired, retiring soon, or possibly faced with your company closing its doors forever? If so, take advantage of this opportunity to roll your 401k into something we call mailbox money.
Mailbox money!
For years, clients of Tony Walker Financial have enjoyed mailbox money, and now you can too by logging on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call 877-499-9255. Let us help you today.
Looking for retirement guidance from a local team you can trust? Subscribe to the Tony Walker Financial YouTube channel for fresh weekly videos focused on the topics that matter most to savers and retirees. Once subscribed, click the bell so you're notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Then head to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to submit your own questions to Tony or schedule your free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with Tony himself. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com, your local trusted resource for retirement planning.
At Tony Walker Financial, we're more than just annuities. With a written retirement game plan, Charles Schwab investments, and tax-smart planning, we help you turn savings into a strategy. Learn more at TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started. Whether it's someone on Wall Street trying to sway savers away from the safety and security that comes with owning annuities, or the religious folks of the world trying to convince freedom-loving Christians to leave the fellowship of Jesus and turn back to the old ways of man and regulations, it's interesting that the Bible warns against such things as how we handle money and the wisdom that comes with handling it properly. There's a multitude of verses on this, some of which can be found in the book of Proverbs. Wisdom that allows us to think for ourselves and know we can always turn to God for guidance. I would summarize these verses of wisdom on money this way: a fool and his money are soon parted. You see, the key is to stay focused on the truth and watch out for the joy robbers of the day. Jesus shares an example of doing just that and how we might remain close to the wisdom he offers, where we pick up this exchange found in John chapter 21 and verse 3, where Peter and his buddies are floundering around in a little boat, having zero luck catching fish, when all of a sudden, an unrecognizable man on the shoreline asks if they're having any luck catching fish, which they say no. The man then tells them to cast their net in a different direction, and voila, the hapless fishermen quickly scoop up over 150 large fish and head back to shore. In the meantime, the stranger, who has already started a fire to cook up the fish, talking about confidence in a bunch of hapless fishermen, proceeds to the next encounter. Instead of Jesus cooking up a good sermon or reminding his disciples of his many miracles, the next words out of his mouth are those in 21:12, where he simply says, "Come and let's have breakfast." Now, as someone who loves breakfast, particularly bacon, which I know in those days was frowned upon, to me there's nothing better in the morning than a big old breakfast. But as much as I love enjoying my mom's expensive bacon and eggs, this breakfast described in John 21 was no ordinary breakfast. In fact, the exchange that would quickly take place during this festive occasion came from the king of joy robbers, Peter himself, when out of the blue he asked Jesus why one of the disciples that was still hanging around. To which Jesus replies with the greatest comebacker of them all, "What concern is that of yours?" Or as my granddad used to say, "None of your business." You know, it's true. Whenever God is working in our midst, there will always be that moment that you, me, or someone else will try to find fault in something or someone else and rob everyone's fun and joy by questioning God in matters that are, well, none of our business. So assuming you're human and tend to stick your nose into the things of God instead of enjoying having breakfast and fellowship with Him, how do we keep from allowing others to rob our joy and spoil the freedom we have to dine with this man Jesus and with other believers? Yes, even if it's just a simple breakfast. Well, the late great theologian Charles Spurgeon sums up this verse in the following manner: Christians may differ on a variety of points, but they all have one spiritual appetite. And if we cannot all feel alike, we can all feed alike on the bread of life sent down from heaven. He goes on to say this wonderful truth about us getting along with one another in this manner: if we were nearer to Jesus, we would be nearer to one another. To which I would say, amen. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're wondering why you are so easily swayed by the joy robbers of the world to do the things you know you really shouldn't do, or be thinking about the things you shouldn't be thinking about. If so, maybe try this. Sit down and have breakfast with Jesus each morning. Instead of quickly grabbing the food of the world, satisfy your soul's appetite by feasting on the Word of God found in your Bible. Start with the book of John and feast upon the wonderful truths it contains, and I assure you, the food it will give you will feed you for a lifetime. And that's some good news you can take to the bank. Well, speaking of dining with those who care about you, I've got a question for you. Do those same people who keep telling you what to do and where to invest your money really and truly have your best interest at heart? Or do they just smell money and will do anything they can to get it? Folks, you're not buying a used car here. This is your life savings. And for many of you that are blindly tossing your money at the first sales pitch that comes your way, you're buying in hook, line, and sinker. Well, here's my advice. A fool and his money are soon parted. So don't be so foolish and so easily swayed by others who may or may not have your best interest at heart. Start by talking to me, Tony Walker. That's right, the owner of the company with over 38 years of experience, over 3,000 clients, and someone who has overseen more than 5,000 written game plans. A fiduciary who has your best interest at heart and would love to talk to you in person. Now, it starts this way. It starts with what we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. Why don't you do this right now? Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Click on that Let's Get Started. We can arrange that phone call with you and I. And if it merits, we will meet in person. That's right, you and I, the owner of the company, to get this free proprietary game plan tailored to your situation. Hey, internet not your thing? Call us anytime. That toll-free number is 877-499-9255. Well, that's all the time we have for the Worry-Free Retirement, but you remember, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.